Hey guys, Uncle Ray, welcome to another episode of the Crypto Bellwether. On this channel, we cut through the hype and the noise, and I give you the non-biased information you can use to capitalize on the biggest opportunity in history. Now guys, I don't always tell you what you want to hear, but I tell you what you need to hear. Now I just went down about a 20-hour rabbit hole over the last couple of days, trying to really understand the big picture of messaging and payments and tokenized assets and everything. And we got to talk about the elephant in the room. Because in this 20-hour deep dive, I've got a really good understanding, unlike I had 2 years ago. And I'm here to tell you, 99% of all people on YouTube especially, they haven't done any research. They don't understand the big picture. And I'm not honking my own horn, but I do my research for me and I share with my community. And guys, this is information you need to understand. Now, that being said, I can't be more bullish, but I have a whole different strategy than I had, 2 years ago, a year ago, 6 months ago, and actually in the last couple of weeks. And it may change tomorrow because the deeper I go into these deep dives and the more understanding I have, guys, crypto is nothing like we think. Now, Alex Becker says all of it's a Ponzi scheme. Just take your profits. And guys, I agree 100%. I'm still extremely bullish. I believe this is the biggest opportunity in history for the average person to change their financial future. But if you don't even understand the game you're in, guys, you're going to be in that 90% of all people that lose money in crypto. And I think that 90% is going to rise every single bull run because the smart money is going to take from the dumb money. And you got Wall Street here and the big power players, and you need to follow them. You need to understand what's going on. And then, guys, I truly believe you can make life changing gains. So, anyway, hit that like button and let's dive into my 20 hours. I'm just going to rant away because there's so much information in my head. I'm not one of those guys. I'm not a professional, video guy. I'm as simple as they get. I do my research, I write it down, I remember it, and I share with you guys. There's no FUD, there's no shield. It's just alpha. And if you appreciate it, you're going to like this channel. If you want me to tell you what you want to hear or you're not serious about your money, just, there's tribal influencers out there that tell you what you want to hear. And hey, you can dislike me now and love me later, and love them now and hate them later. The choice is yours. So hit the like button. Let's dive into the elephant in the room because we got to talk about it and no one seems to want to talk about it. Okay. What basically kicked this video off was, I just did a series of real world assets and comparing, a bunch of them. I've already done 4, so that's 8. I think I've got another one I've already done, so that's 10. And I truly believe real world assets is not only going to be the hot sector, it's just going to keep getting hotter. You're just going to keep getting announcements. AI is right behind it. Gaming may outperform, but gaming will be short-lived. I believe AI, the AI narrative, and the real-world asset narrative is going to continue through the bear market and explode in the preceding bull run when we get a little further down the road and the adoption gets there. But for me, I only invest bull run to bull run. I try to find the best investments. That I'm not talking about the best tech. That's all I care about, the best investment. If I put in $10,000 into one real world asset compared to other, hopefully the probability and the risk reward will reward me with more money. That's all I care about. And guys, I'm here to tell you, anyone that hodls crypto, you definitely do not have an understanding of what you're hodling. And I say that with love. But, I try to follow people that are smarter than me. And I know from my research of following some really, really smart people, none of them, and I mean none of them, like Alex Becker or Raul Paul, none of them are talking about hodling their tokens. They're already talking about taking their profits. So if you're not along that, mindset, you're going to be the profit. You are the exit liquidity to the smart money. Again, say that with love. All right. So the guy on the screen is the founder of Chainlink. And this really got me going the other day because, when I do my research, Chainlink arguably has more adopted real world technology than any project out there. Chainlink has partnered with almost all blockchains, every government looking at a CBDC, half of Wall Street. I mean, it is a power player. It's the gateway with Swift and banking. That token should already be up 100x, outperforming every project out there. So that's kind of what kicked off my deep dive. And now I have a better understanding. Now I'm about sure that I'm about 99% sure of my thought process at the moment. But hey, there's not someone I can call to run this narrative and this thought process by. Most people have no idea what I'm even talking about. It's kind of funny, you know, I make these statements and people tell me I need to do some research, and they've done zero research. They don't even know what I'm talking about. But anyway, I watched probably 4 hours worth of podcasts with, I think it's Sergey, and he just ran it away just like I'm doing, talking about what he sees. And I'm telling you guys, he talks to governments around the world, everyone. And he basically said, look, here's the future. And this is what people need to understand. The way we make payments and the way Wall Street works, all of that's changing. Now, that part may stay the same, but the future, the Web3 part of payments and like messaging and tokenized assets, it's all changing. So, he said basically what he sees as the future is everything's going to be tokenized, including your payments. And that's the part, like say the XRP Army guys don't understand when they say all the money and all the crazy things they say. They don't have a clue. That's not even a possibility. There's not going to be one rail. There might be hundreds of thousands, if not millions of rails. According to Sergey, he said that in the future, all your layer ones and everything like that are just going to be neutral. He said, you're going to probably, like a corporation, is going to have its own blockchain built on its own technology. And it's just going to tie in to all those rails. I think of it like a map of the United States, right? There's 1,000 ways, literally, to get to California. And those roads are the rails. And understand this part. Yes, the probabilities of getting to California, say from New York City, you could probably roll that down to 5 roads. There's going to be interstates. Well, those interstates are going to be the rails of FedNow and Swift and the legacy banks. That's a fact. So any of these side roads, they may be used, but they are not the dominant infrastructure. They're not the lion's share. And hear me when I say this, because this is important. Those main roads, like say the interstate that runs from New York to California, those are owned like by the government, and those are toll bridges, right? The other roads are almost irrelevant. And I'm here to tell you that tokens, as we know them, the reason they're pumping quant XRP, XLM, Algorand, all of that, for the most part, the reason they are where they're at is pure speculation. They're commodities, they're currencies, or they're just mechanisms at best. When you take the speculation away from these projects, guys, you just have mechanisms and the value isn't that great. Most projects could just stay where they're at and the project could explode with adoption and be a world success, change the world at the price they are now or lower, much lower. They have a lot of money, which was the speculation part. They have the adoption. They're either paying the ecosystem, those are the ones that have survived, or they're paying the foundation, or they're paying the company. And for the people that don't want to pay any or use any of those side roads, you're going to be able to do all the transactions with tokenized assets, which we're going to talk about in a minute, on free rails. Your bank's going to have free rails, JP Morgan, Swift, everyone's going to have free rails. And if they partner, it's going to be exactly like, say, MoneyGram and Stellar, right? MoneyGram obviously pays Stellar to use its rails. It settles on USDC. And if you go to MoneyGram right now and you send someone, $1,000 from Texas to Africa, you could argue the fact that, yeah, well, I used XLM. Well, you didn't buy XLM. For whatever that's worth, guys. And the point of that is, once you understand what I just said, any project that rips and pumps, take the profit. And the odds are the projects that have already had that big speculation, they're not going to meet a new all-time high. Just the stats will tell us that, right? 90% right now, starting back to 2017, 90% of all those projects did not hit a new all-time high, like XLM, XRP in 2021. And the odds of those hitting a new all-time high 4 more years later are slim and none. Can they do it? Absolutely. Anything's possible with crypto. So, in my opinion, guys, my new strategy, for whatever this is worth, it's not financial advice. Get in the new projects, get in as early as you can, and take profits early. And you have a phenomenal plan to be successful. If you hodl crypto and altcoins, I think it's 99.9% that you will get wrecked. Hey, do your own research, and maybe you don't agree with what I'm saying. So that's what I got from Sergio. And he also said that he believes in the next 2 to 3 years that tokenized assets will have a bigger market cap than all of crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum combined, right? He believes that's the future. He sees it every single day, and that's where the big market is. Now, here's another long, boring thing I read, and it started with, I did that video, like I said, about the real world asset comparison. Well, here's the big elephant in the room that no one wants to talk about. Ethereum is the dominant player as it sits. Now, I don't believe in the next 10 years, which is 2 more bull runs, which, hey, I could care less about that third bull run. I may not even be around. But Ethereum is not going to lose its market share. It's not. It's the chosen one, whether we like it or not. Now, the good news is, in the future, it's not even going to matter which one has the lion's share of the rails. They're going to be irrelevant, just like your phone company. It's probably going to be narrowed down to, a handful of major players, and they'll pay the little players when they're being used. We won't know it. It's just behind the scenes. But here's what everyone needs to understand. tokenized assets are securities. Now understand that. And that's what the SEC was trying to do with Ripple. If Ripple and XRP loses, I mean, it's not guaranteed yet, but if they lost that lawsuit or if they lose it, crypto's done. Because of the regulation, and if things are identified as a security, no one can compete. It's game over. So that's another reason not to hodl. Now, you remember BUIDL or BUIDL, that is the platform that Blackrock tokenized its first fund with. Well, it went through securitized. So I was like, okay, I got to do a deep dive into securitized. Well, not only is securitized a blockchain company, of course, BlackRock has a big investment. See, that's the difference. Like Coinbase, right? BlackRock owns a part of it. So it has a vested interest to use it in the future. But here's what everyone needs to understand. Once something is tokenized, it's a security. So that security is basically a new way to buy, sell, and trade stocks. So right now, if you buy stocks, you don't own the certificate. I mean, actually, you could order it and they'll print it out on a piece of paper and send it to you, but no one does that, right? The brokerage house has that security. They're liable for it. It's licensed, it's insured, and all that. Well, the Web3 of the future is not that your stocks will become tokens. If you own Coca-Cola, for instance, this is what's coming. You can say, I want to tokenize my Coca-Cola stocks and send it to me. And now it's a smart contract, NFT, atomic settlement, and it's a security token, and you can put it in your wallet, full control over it. So also, tokenized assets, you know how we're using staking. They're trying to get rid of all that. Literally, Wall Street has a plan to cock block us from all of it. But here's the deal, guys. Most people could care less. You know, I've got a lot of wealthy friends. They're not buying Bitcoin. I just had one person, the first person that bought $100,000 worth of Bitcoin. They called Morgan Stanley, bought 100K because, you know, they're a friend of mine. I tried to get her to buy it at 20,000. She didn't do it. She didn't at 50. She bought it like at 57,000. That's the future, guys. No one wants to educate themselves, and retail is not, you know, really going to do what they've done in the past, in my opinion. I'm getting a little sidetracked, but here's what you need to understand. When something is tokenized, it becomes a security. Now, there's different projects out there that are trying to work their way around it, but here's what that new fund was, the tokenized fund from BlackRock. It's legislated under Rule 506C, the 1933 Section C, But check this out, guys. It's a $5 million minimum investment for accredited investors. Now, why am I harping on all this? Because here's the deal. I own ONDO. I'm going to stack Mantra. I own a lot of real world asset projects, and I think they are the future. But guys, if you hold those projects, there's no way they will dominate. They may get their share, but the writing's on the wall. When BlackRock and JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs and all those big boys just tokenize what the money they have, they're going to have the lion's share. So you need to understand that. Guys, just pure speculation and hype, almost every real world asset token is going to explode. Some of them are going to do 5x, 10x, 15, maybe some of them do 50, even 100x. And the whole point about this rant, take your profits, guys. Now, I watched this video, BlackRock's tokenization strategy, from the CEO of Securitize. And he talks about we are so early. And he also talks about, and guys, track him down, watch the video. He talked about how we are crazy early, and he talked about the regulation. And Surrey talked about the same thing. It's so complex and it's so gray right now for these companies and these projects being built. They're probably not going to make it. He said, like, if someone wants to tokenize some real estate, or like if a rock star wanted to tokenize his album, he won't do it. He said, we will offer them the technology, but we won't get involved because they will not make it. And even if they were successful in launching and selling all their, tokenized assets and raising all that money, he goes, the world's not ready to buy it and sell it and to move it around, and it may be totally illegal. He said, so that everything's going to be stair step. He goes, right now, you have like bonds being tokenized and treasuries with like BlackRock. He said, then stable coins are next. And he said, then you're going to come out from there. Now, follow me on this. When we need to talk about payments, you have to understand this. Yes, you're always going to be able to send, say $10,000 or $1,000 to, from Texas to Africa, simple, with a stable coin, or you can go through MoneyGram or whatever. But the tokenized assets in the future, atomic settlement, tokens are not going to be needed, or they're just going to run as mechanisms in the background. Now check this out. If you have $10,000 in the bank right now, and once we get a little more down the road in the regulation, your bank's going to say, hey, why don't we tokenize your money, or tokenize your car title, whatever it is, tokenize your mortgage. You have equity, and we'll pay you a dividend. And I meant to show you that back here on the BlackRock roadmap. That BUIDL fund, it pays dividends. So staking, guys, they're trying to get rid of staking as we know it and move it into where the regulated banks can stake it. And that's probably the future. There may be some renegades like me and you wanting to do our own staking and keep our Bitcoin in our own wallet. But for the masses, when it's mainstream, your bank will probably be tokenizing everything, and the average person has no idea what's even going on. They don't even know any name of crypto except maybe Shiba and Doge and Bitcoin. So that's the future, guys. Atomic settlement. Now, again, when we talk about, you see these videos where people talk about, oh, the banking reset and banks are slow and all this stuff. Guys, that is old news. That's a straight lie. That is just marketing from people that either lying to you or just don't understand what's going on. They are already moving money around instant settlement like nothing. And Sergio, in one of these videos, talked about, let's talk about messaging. This is the future for payments, guys. All right, when you tokenize something, just like in the repo market on this article, you got Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Broadridge, some of the biggest players in the world, they're moving trillions of dollars around on their blockchain right now, instant settlement with tokenization. And what happens, Sergio said there's minimum 3 messages got to go with every time you tokenize something. See, that's the future. Coca-Cola's not just going to send $1 billion from one bank to the other. That's Web 2. Web 3 is you tokenize that $1 billion with a bunch of messages and a bunch of instructions. And then whatever the other side has to do, that is tokenized as well. Maybe it's just a message, or maybe it's an asset a title or whatever, and then it will run on any rail. It's irrelevant. The rails will become irrelevant, but they're probably going to be the legacy bank rails. But the ledger is important. So you have atomic settlement, which tokenizes every token. Guys, think about this in the future. This is important because you hear stuff like, say, from the XRP Army talking about, say, Swift, saying, oh, that's just messaging. They're still going to settle with XRP and all the rails. No, they're not. It's a package deal. The future of payments is tokenized assets. If you're sending $5, they're going to tokenize that $5 with a message. They're going to use any rail. There'll be countless rails. The ledger will make it happen as long as both parties have done what they have done. And the banks and the regulators and everyone wants to put it on their rails. So you'll be regulated. You will be, KYC, okay. You will be insured. Guys, that's the future, and that's not debatable. If you do the research, you're going to find the same information. And I wish more people would do the research. Now, let's sum this up, and I'm glad you stuck with me if you did through this rant. Here's what I think, guys. The opportunity is immense, but we're still early. And guys, this is deja vu for the 2000.com bust. All these phenomenal companies came out. They were world beaters. People made millions of dollars, and it disappeared. Guys, what's happening right now? The banking reset, these tokenized assets, AI, all of that is being dominated in a big way by Wall Street. And I'll say it again, been saying it since my very first video 2.5 years ago. The governments, primarily the U.S. government, the legacy banks, and Wall Street pick winners and losers. And most of these projects, guys, are, I'm not going to call them Ponzi schemes. They have good intentions, but they're not even in the game. They don't have anything special. They don't have anything we really need that Wall Street and the banks and everyone doesn't already have figured out. So do yourself a favor, guys. Dig into the hype and the speculation part. Dig into it. There's a ton of money to be made, in my opinion, not financial advice. But guys, take your profits. You're going to become the profits. And I'm telling you, in the start of the preceding bull run, the one after this, probably 95% of those projects are not going to make a new all-time high. And probably half of them are not even going to exist, or they're going to be irrelevant. And the last thing I want to say, guys, is that there's no reason that I can see why the real world utility projects like HBAR, Algorand, XLM, XRP, Quant, Chainlink can't grow by 25-50% a year, which is all world growth when you talk about projects that are worth billions of dollars. Well, they can do that kind of growth, and they don't need their token to go up at all. The only thing going to move any of those projects' tokens is pure speculation. And if the speculation goes away, it's fine. Brad Garlinghouse said at XRP like a year ago, well, if we have to get rid of XRP and we can't use it anymore, Ripple will be fine. Well, I didn't understand that. Now I do. None of these projects need these tokens. These tokens are just feeding these companies. Our speculative money has made people like Brad and David and half of crypto wealthy. And it's growing projects like Algorand and HBAR. Maybe they make it, maybe they become world beaters, or maybe they don't. But either way, guys, the projects are pumping because of speculation, period. All right, if you need some help, guys, and you want a better understanding and some help with your portfolio, when to take profits, how to compare these things and all that, I do one-on-one coaching. It's only $250 for 3 Zoom and phone calls. And guys, whether you take me up on that or not, do some real research. I'll leave a link at the end. I did a video of how millionaires do research. Watch that video. Come back, be part of this community, get a game plan, and take profits, or you'll become the prophet. And when you're surfing around with that confirmation bias, remember this last saying: if the majority were right, the majority be rich. Guys, 9 out of 10 things that you hear about crypto is probably BS. Do your own research, and research doesn't have bias. Non-biased research. All right, let me know what you think in the comment section. Hit the like button, share with like-minded people, and subscribe and come back and be part of this community. Let me know if you thought this video was helpful. Take care, guys.